Alright, so for today's video, so I'll be teaching you on how to do an action research. So para po sa lahat ng teacher, so I am very sure that you need this and makaka-relate po kayo sa ating discussion ngayong araw na ito. Alright, so simulan natin. So I'll be sharing you my screen and alright, so ayan, so this time I will be teaching you on how to do an action research, right? So for a little bit background of myself, so I am a teacher too of the division, school divisions of Mandaluyong. So I am also a 2019 birth grantee. A birth is Bureau of Educational Research Fund of the Department of Education, meaning they are a group of of a research community in the Department of Education, wherein when you qualified for, your paper qualified for their series of selection, so they're going to fund you based on your declared um, budget. So yeah, so all right, so the purpose of this is I want to teach you on how to do action research based on the depth ed format. So let's start. All right, so objectives. So first we have to define action research. Okay, after this, during and after of this discussion, so you will be able to define what is an action research. And second is identify kinds of action research. Of course, there are different kinds of action research that you need to know. So it doesn't stop like knowing action research, but it is very important also to know what are the different kinds of action research. And the third one is enumerate steps in doing action research proposal. So later I'll be showing you what is the format and what are the parts of action research proposal based on the Department of Education format. Okay. And also for the last objective, you're going to make an action research proposal. So hopefully you'll be able to follow even though we're just using virtual conversation. All right, so let's start. So first we have to define action research. What is an action research? All right, so first is action research is simply a form of self-reflective inquiry, so undertaken by the participants in social situation in order to improve the rationality and justice of their own practices and the situation in which the practices are carried out. All right, this definition is based from Carr and Kemmis of 2014. So here they stated that action research is more on reflective inquiry. So when you reflect and when you have inquiry, right? So you are, you are doing an action research. Okay, so it is basically product of your reflection. I mean, product of your inquiry, and then you reflect. You have questions, you have questions, and you reflect on that questions. You have reflections, and you inquire for that um, reflections. All right. So it is also to improve the rationality and justice of their own practices. Like you have to, it might also that you wanted to reflect on your say for example particular as a teacher um particular strategy in the classroom setup, like you wanted to to evaluate whether it is they are effective or not, or what are the ways that you what are the ways to improve your teaching strategies, okay, in the classroom, right, and different programs. Okay, So another is action research is a systematic form of inquiry that is collective, collaborative, self-reflective, critical, and undertaken by the participants of the inquiry or research. All right. So in this definition, it is stated that when you do an action research, it must or you must follow certain process. Like you cannot do it alone for sure. Okay. So you need a collaborative effort. Okay, and of course self-reflective. There are if there is a collaborative effort, then of course definitely there will be a criticizing critics, right? So of course criticism is very important. Like we have to take it constructively in order for us to improve. Okay, next is all right, so what is action research? Next definition is action research is a research that any of us can do on his on our own practice to improve it. Like what I have said right a minute ago, like when you want to improve your strategies, the teaching strategies, especially teacher, like you want to improve your program, you want to find ways on how to improve or whether it is effective or not. So you do an action research. So why? Because in conducting action research, you're going to find out what are some um, some of a certain some of your programs, like some ways to improve your programs or strategies, right? So it can be conducted with the assistance or guidance of professional researchers in order to improve strategies, practices, and knowledge. All right, so yeah, so me, I am a research enthusiast. So at first, it's very funny that um, I have developed my. I can confidently say that, but not that 100%. But I have totally um developed my research skills way back when I was in college. Like our professor then, like he let us do our research individually. So yeah, I was kind of challenged in that particular situation wherein um I was supposed to present. I presented my action research from chapter 1 to 3, and then suddenly the panelists like um said that after my presentations, they said that it was approved, but only to find out that it needs you know, a totally revision. So in that way, I was in a cramming, like I don't know what to do because the deadline, I was about to graduate, but then, I had a very terrible problem when it comes to my research. So what I did is that I do a lot of sleepless nights, like I don't sleep, like literally, I don't sleep. Sleepless night, literally. So in that way, I was motivated to study every bit on how to do a research. So after that, I realized that I love research. And it is because of the guidance of my professor in research. So each and every one of us need a guidance. So I I hope that whenever you watch this presentation, or it so happened that you watch this presentation, I hope that you find it very new learning in your life. All right, when you have this question like, why do I have to do action research? And so this is the answer. Okay, next is why we have to do action research. So the question is, who the hell I care? If you say like, why do I need to do this? Why do I have to do action research? It's not important. So some of us may said that. All right, but um some of also of us may say that Yes, it's very interesting. Action research is very interesting. Like, yes, you are right. Like action research is very interesting. Okay, so doing action research is like investigating, and it makes also someone, or it makes us grow professionally when you do action research. And also our educational system nowadays need an action research, a very uh, I mean a very timely action research amidst of the pandemic situation that we are facing right now. That is why action research or researches are very important nowadays. Right, so let's start. Why do we have to do action research? First, action research powers professional growth. Yes, so comes up to that. Like it's absolutely true. Okay, like in my case, I have done one action research under under the birth under the Bureau of Educational Research. So that is my latest one. And then way back last year I have published one action research in, if if I don't know if you are familiar with Teacher PH. So I have published one action research that was entitled game based. So that is game based um, program for struggling readers. So in that way, when you do an action research without knowing it, you are growing professionally. Okay, because you've come across different problems, you've come across um, different solutions to that problem, and you learn how to communicate, you learn how to collaborate with your peers and with your fellow teachers. So in that way you are growing professionally. So action research is very important. Next is action research makes change manageable. Right. So in a certain situation, like you have to make a solution. Like, yeah, you are preventing um, the occurrence of changes, and because of your findings of that specific problems, when you and then you do an action research for that, and then you come up with um, you come up with a very reliable analysis and findings. So in that way, you are beginning to, you are starting to manage, the occurrence of changes in that situation. And next is action research promotes collaboration. Very, very fact. Okay, like when you do action research, as I have said a minute ago, like it is not you alone, right? You cannot do action research alone. Like, of course, you need the. Why do you do action research? Because you have a certain problem, and what are these problems? Okay, so say for example in classroom you have struggling readers. So it's not you alone. You have to consider the 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 recipient of your study, the recipient of your research, and also you have to collaborate with the group so that there could be a variation of ideas, there could be a solicitation of ideas. And when you have so much inputs, when you gathered so much inputs from your peers, from your fellows, then that's the time that you'll be making um, you'll be making a tons of ideas. You'll be collecting tons of ideas, and it's very good if you collect collaborative ideas. It will help you a lot in making action research. Next is action research love being shared. Yeah, so it doesn't stop. Like when you finish your action research and you stop, you find that, oh, this is the solution of my problem, then you stop. No, the the beautiful, the satisfaction, all right, as a researcher, the satisfaction feeling is that when you share your action research to others, that yeah, if this is effective to me, then this might be effective also to you. Why don't you try to apply it in your class if you're a teacher? So it is being shared. It is meant to be shared, right? Because good strategies, that good teaching strategies are meant to be shared. and it is the 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 impact to you is somewhat like satisfaction. Like, no, it doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be more on the positive impact or feedback. Yeah, like I have said, a minute, like I have said minutes ago, like you must learn how to accept criticism, right? So, and make sure this would be um you take it constructively in order for you to improve, and that is what is action research. Next is action research can power system change. Yeah, it's very true. Like like who have been thought that you can apply game base in reading, because game base can be applied in outside or outdoor activities, like who have been thought that it can applied in reading, that it can it can motivate struggling readers to have the love for reading. So in that way, you are promoting system change, like to like in order to make these struggling readers a reader, like the traditional way, like you have to um like you have to remain them or retain them in order for them to read. Like this time you have to apply different strategies, and that becomes changes in the system or in the teaching strategies. All right, so next is, what are the things to consider in doing action research? Of course, what are the things? Why do you do action research? Right? Why do you do action research? Of course, there are the things that you consider in doing that. So first is your interest. Of course, you have to consider your interest, because if you will do an action research out of your interest, so I probably tell you that you will not enjoy doing action research. So like me, I am an English teacher. So of course my interest is, reading. And also sometimes I am trying to, yeah, reading, oral fluency and like that. So that is why I am planning. Actually, I have a plan before this pandemic happened. Like I have a plan that I have to integrate um reading strategies to science. Okay, but it was postponed because pandemic happened. So yes, you have to consider your interest. It is from my advice, like in order for you to enjoy doing action research, like it must, or you must be interested in doing it. Yeah, try to find your interest. Okay, next is a problem, because of course you have to identify the problem. So action research is, oh, it doesn't have to be thesis like, right? Like you have to have this um very vogue or very very complicated problem. Simple problem may do, and you have to state it simply, right? The simpler the better. That's what I have learned from one of the head of birth, when they have conducted orientation about the research, like no title or problem, the simpler the better. Next is the program. Of course, you have to consider also the program. You have to identify programs and interventions, okay, and make sure that you find solutions, right, to this program. It doesn't mean also that you have to identify a problem in doing action research, because program can out of the program you can do also action research. Okay, like what is the best in that program. Okay, so next is respondents. Of course, you have to consider also respondents. All right, so are they always available? The availability of your respondents also, and the situation of your respondents is very important. Next, respondents, like if you do an action research, basically, yeah, you seek first the consent of the parent. Of course, that's on more on legal issues. Okay. So next is materials. So what are the materials you'll be going to? I mean, you'll be needing. That's the materials, and of course, you must itemize the funds or the budget that you need. Okay. So that whenever you you plan to propose it, if you are a teacher in Department of Education, like it's okay. You have to itemize the budget. All right, so let's discuss the birth 2019 vital statistics. So these are the statistics of the birth. Okay. Oh, I can present to you the picture. All right, so let's come to. Right, let's keep to that. All right, so parts of AR proposal. So this is the parts of the proposal. Maybe you have to take pictures on this, so because it's very important. Like if you are planning to propose a research, so this is very important. This is based on the DepEd Order number 16 series of 2017. All right, so first you have the title. So in the title, so make it simple as what they have said. The simpler, the better, right? So it must have the maximum number of words, which is 15. All right. So all acronyms must be spelled out and must contain the variables of the study, of course. So the title itself must explain your study, right? Next is context and rationale. So it is rationale. State or give reliable data that will support your problem. So in this section, you have to state facts, okay? And data must be verified and validated. So when we say verified, so of course make sure that your statement, your problem or problems were validated through validated interventions. Like what are this? So say for example, if you are teaching, so you may use results of periodical tests. If you are trying to to if your problem is all about the performance of the students, so you may use the result of the periodical test because it was validated already. Or to um, if you are trying to propose, or if you have problem with reading comprehensions, then you may use um, Phil Erie. All right. So question: what about if I am currently teaching uh, lower grades such as kinder 1 2 3? I think they don't have Phil Erie in English, right? So of course um, you may use evaluations material or tools. Make sure that it will be validated by your superior, like principals or master teachers or supervisors. So just make sure that it was validated if you wanted to propose or to have your proposal in the DepEd. So they need a validated tool. Right. So next is proposed intervention strategy. So in this part, state your proposed intervention backed up with different related literature that you have read. So of course, just like in any other studies, like why do you come up with this study? Of course, the this is my all right. So I will be sharing you my strategy on why I find it very interesting in doing action research, because actually I am a I read a lot. Okay, so I read a lot. So if I encounter problems or encounter problems inside the classroom, or one of my students or students as well, like yeah, I begin to read about I begin to research about the problem. Say for example, behavior. So I focus myself on behavior and I try to do a research about the different authors, research authors about behavior. So when I read this behavior, and then I gather information about the problem. So it would be very easy for me to come up with an intervention. So intervention now will come in, and then strategy. So when you propose an intervention and strategy, it would not be, or it will not be very difficult for you to state it because you have read a lot of studies about that. So you are going now to back up that with your studies that you have read. So that in that case, doing an action research or proposed intervention or strategy would not be very difficult now because you have this store information about the problem, right? So next is part four is the action research question. So at least if you're doing an action research, this there should be five questions. All right, five questions that you need to find out after the studies. Basically, that five questions will answer your title. Okay, so that's it. Next is action research method. So in this part, you're going to identify the number of the number of the participants. Okay, the resource of data information, data gathering methods, and data analysis. And number five is action research, work plan, timeline. So in the timeline, you have to indicate the pre-implementation, what have you done before implementing the program, and during implementation and post-implementation. Right? So of course, the last part is the cost estimate. So these are the funds and resources. Right? So all right, so next is the plans for dissemination and utilization. So how and when you will disseminate the result of your studies. Of course, as I have said, action research is not I mean action research is meant to be shared. That is why there is a dissemination and utilization. And how and when will utilize it? When you will utilize it. Okay? And also you have to include the references. All right. So this one, if you are done, if your action research had or has been approved, right? So that's the time that you're going to make now an action research. All right. So action research, you propose, that is the flow. You write a title, you propose a title to your action research school committee. When you approve, you write action research, you propose it in your division, and when it has been approved, and that's the time that you're going to write the full action research. Here is the template based on depth order number 16 2017. So of course, number one, you have the cover page, contains the following: title of the study, maximum of 15 words, name of the proponents and their designation, school division's office, date of submission. And then you have the acknowledgement. Okay, it contains all the individuals researchers would like to or would wanted to thank to. Use only the third person, of course, you know that. And abstract. So the abstract, the entire text should include the following major aspects. So the objectives, okay, so the methods, the results, reflections, conclusions, and recommendations. Of course, abstract is the summary of all your research. Summary, and in a more concise manner. Like it should have 250 to 300 words, italic and single space, and provide 5 to 10 keywords. Next is introduction, so context and rationale. So this part discusses your topic or problem. Always back up your statement with facts or study. Use proper citation in citing studies or reference, especially EPA format. I know you know this. You may start discussing your topic. Hint, my hint. All right. So you may start discussing your topic from general point of views up to the very specific discussion. So it's like inverted pyramid, right? So next is proposed intervention, innovation, and strategy. In this part, you will be presenting the process on how you will be starting or gathering your data. What are the necessary methods you applied and intervention you used? So this one is the whole process of the research, right? Like how did you gather your data? How are you going to present them? What are the necessary methods that you need to apply? Next is action research questions. So basically, there are five questions. So if you need six, it's okay, but basically five. Right. So hint in formulating questions, always consider your problem or your research study. That's a hint from me. Next, chapter two, participants and data resource. Yes, it covers the participant data resource, data gathering, procedure, and instruments, data analysis. Hint or tip, always choose or make research study that utilize descriptive statistics. The simple, the better. Yeah, so in my case, because I am not very good in statistics, so I always choose descriptive statistics. It's up to you if you know if you are very if you are mathematically inclined, yeah, the decision is yours to make. But I myself I prefer descriptive statistics because it's very easy to analyze. Okay. Next is chapter three, results and discussions. So provide graphical presentation and explain the results of your study comprehensively. Avoid slang or very uncommon words to avoid misinterpretation and confusion. Now, when you interpret, okay, when comparing results, be specific and use the statistical data and interpretations. Do not mm, do not just make it specific. Okay, refer to your graph if you have graph, refer to your data if you have data presented, right? Do not go beyond explaining and explaining everything, just make it simple and specific. Okay, next is conclusions and recommendation. Always generalize the term and always refer to the study. I mean, always refer to the study. Present the summary and findings of your research study. All right. So in this part, the conclusion and recommendation part, you have to show implications, the reflection in making recommendations like implication. What are the impacts of your studies, and what are your recommendations? What are your reflections? So in that manner, you will be making your conclusions and recommendations perfectly, right? Next is, of course, you do an action research. You have to do an action plan. All right, so come up with an action plan based on the results of your research study. Make it attainable and easy to do. Observe time frame when you do action research. Of course, you must be very specific to that. Next, right, so you have to cite properly for your references. All the authors and books of or studies that you have read use the APA format. And of course, it's our workshop. So, yes, so this time it's your time to do an action research. So, if you have questions, you may reach me through my Facebook account, all right, or my YouTube channel also. All right, so for this, I would like to end our discussion today. I hope that you learned something from me today. So, by the way, it's Señoritong Vlogger in my YouTube account, but actually, I am Teacher Ricky in behind those pseudonym. All right. So, I hope you enjoyed learning today, and I hope to be keep in touch with you. Right. Let's do some action research and let's make it more fun and interesting. Goodbye and see you. All right, so we're done, and I hope you like it. So that that is my this is my first live complete live in YouTube channel. So actually, I am practicing because this 16th day of August, like on Sunday, I'll be having my So, ayan na nga, I'm sorry naputol because for, nag lowbat yung computer ko. So, ayan na nga. So, ayan, so I hope you have learned something from me today, especially teachers. Kung makikita nyo ang video, kung makakapanood kayo ng video, this is nakikita ka talaga. Okay. Ayan si Cassie Heartcrap. So, salamat sa patamsak mo dyan. Actually, practice lang to. Kasi, sa August 16, magkakaroon ako ng webinar. So, this is just a practice. Ayan.